Whilst researching Cunard at Christmas time, it struck me to see the line's last remaining ocean liner, the Queen Mary 2, boasting a gargantuanly tall Christmas tree situated in no stranger a place than the ship's stern section. How would she keep stable this elaborate ornament once trailed out in the middle of the vastly unpredictable rolling ocean, I dare ask? I had to read the description to see that this was not in fact Queen Mary 2, but her much older, more tenured sister, the beloved Queen Elizabeth II, and but a year ago in her permanent home in Port Rashid, Dubai. The image I bore witness to was in fact the grand Christmas tree lighting ceremony hosted on December 12th, my paternal father's birthday, that included choir singing and a special visit from Santa Claus himself. Dubai, like the majority of the Middle East, is predominantly Muslim. But like any giant and culturally diverse city such as New York, London, Paris, Hong Kong, Tokyo, within the spectrum of its majority, the city recognizes a number of different faiths and their respected holidays. One huge contention made by every hotel operator about the QE2's permanent residence in Dubai has been how much they planned on respecting the ship's legacy.
So I've had a very difficult task of finding the right balance between recreating her, however, at the same time, not losing the essence and the soul of who she was.
And it is also so very touching, so very swish, to see the often very British-inspired traditions upheld and celebrated. The incorporation of the very vibrant Middle Eastern reds and greens to quite literally deck the halls of this unique as well as uniquely legendary ship only enhances, in my opinion, the Christmas spirit they manifest on board each season. The QE2 during Christmas time appears to be honored as much in Dubai as it was at sea, and I want to go into what it was like, and what it is like aboard the ship from the time of her sea trials, let alone maiden voyage, to her ever-growing years as a permanent hotel, museum, and tourist attraction in the thriving megacity of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. With that said, the QE2 has always been an international destination within itself. Though steeped in long-standing British heritage, Cunard has always been very forward about the authentic ways they embrace every culture this ship has trademarked itself within each unique skyline. And the photos and footage I could find around Christmas aboard the ship throughout her sailing career shows a festive and highly themed atmosphere, with dinner galas and events reflecting this Christian-pagan hybrid of a holiday. Former crew and passenger alike share the warm and cozy atmosphere that was the Christmas season, and especially Christmas Day, as well as a Christ-centered church service and communion, if desired. It was as elaborate as it was subtle. Apparently, though, in the 1970s in particular, there were majority Jewish passengers on board. So I wonder what Christmas was like for them. Though Cunard has always treasured their Jewish passengers, the Queen Mary of 1936 boasting, though small, an elaborately fitted out and authentically presented synagogue on board. The website, QE2abstractlog.com, is a wealth of all things QE2, and one great privilege we are granted within this website is an entire log of her itinerary from the very beginning of her career, from her 1968 sea trials in Greenock, Scotland, to the day she was handed over to Dubai in November 2008. And I was actually very surprised to see Christmas on the QE2 throughout her 41-year service career to be mostly consistent. She would make a winter transatlantic run from Southampton to New York before escaping the winter weather to Port Everglades, Florida, to the tropical must-sees of the Caribbean, which usually included the Bahamas and fellow surrounding islands, as well as South America. There are maybe 5 significant outliers of this long-standing schedule. In 1974, she was in what looked to be some kind of special commemorative UK colony cruise. In 1986, she spent Christmas in Bremerhaven for one of the biggest refits of her life that changed her steam engines to diesel, exchanging the almost petite, minimalist funnel into a meaty symbol of king and country, the way funnels used to when ships were the only way to cross. In 1989, she broke from the typical tropical waters of the Caribbean to the more isolated tropical waters of Hawaii. perhaps as part of a world cruise that typically lasted 6 months. Outside of those rare outliers, toward the end of her career after decades of changing world history, even the last year before her retirement in Dubai, it was virtually the same itinerary. Most of the time, she left from Port Everglades, Florida. But no doubt, as expected, there were certain occasional shifts here and there in the initial port of departure, including Southampton, Miami, and even New York, before heading out to the Caribbean. What I find so interesting is, again, the consistency. Well, after decades of changing times, including the maybe 3 drastically different and extensive refits, the ship's Christmas itinerary throughout her life remained virtually unchanged, which is just so traditionally British to me. It fits a little too perfectly in the midst of all she represents. And this includes where she was on Christmas Day. On all but 7 randomized years, she spent this sacred day at sea. The tradition, according to some of her former crew, making, no doubt, a very immersive Christmas experience. We are privileged to have a few home movie video style captures on the YouTube platform in particular that show what the atmosphere was like during this very special time. And while there doesn't appear to be anything too dramatic, it's clearly not your typical time of year according to the photos and footage available. I can just smell the ginger from the gingerbread houses, and all the sweet and woodsy aromas from the pine tree to the sweet Christmas candy and other sugary delights. Even before she sailed on the Christmas Eve of Monday, December 23rd, 1968, she hosted an entire itinerary for crew that no doubt tested out the functionality of her many guest spaces to the enchantment of those who built her. In Dubai, they have continued on this legacy, adding that special and no doubt visible for miles, larger-than-life tree on her stern and making special events honoring the ship's British past with swish holiday cheer. It has even offered British and other Western inhabitants of the United Arab Emirates a chance to celebrate Christmas in a way they can't otherwise. They have even hosted a Christmas night market aboard where stalls sell local handmade arts and crafts with seasonal cooking stations and performances. It averages about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, or 62 degrees Celsius, in December in Dubai. Not too crazy different from the tropical destinations she usually found herself in around this time. I do long to visit the QE2 as she is one day. I was privileged to board the ship on her last visit to Los Angeles way back on March 30th, 2008. The ship has been through a lengthy and rather incognito limbo since arriving in the growing, thriving desert city, largely due to the Great Recession of the time. She only truly opened almost exactly 10 years after being given over to the Ports, Customs, and Free Zone Corporation, or PCFC, hotels owned by the Dubai government. As of 2022, the French hotel group Accor has taken over hotel operations, along with M Gallery Hotel Collection, who plan on upgrading and renovating the ship to our either delight or else growing misfortune. I haven't heard too terribly much about the state of QE2 beside the 3-part BBC docuseries from 2017, a year before she opened to the public, and promo material from the ship's Instagram page in particular. A small handful of video reviews from mid-2023 gave rave reviews of the ship's condition and treatment. It appeared radio silent for a while, and it wasn't until Walk With Me Tim's very honest and detailed review premiered June 16, 2024 that I vicariously witnessed, within but a year's time, the QE2's apparent glaringly rough and liminal shape. There are the quintessential clean and well-kept-up parts.
It's a huge ship. It's like stepping back in time. Wow, look at this.
Dubai has over 100 5-star hotels, but for designer Chris, none can match the vintage glamour aboard the ship.
Love the old photos. And I thought if I'm going to stay on the QE2, I might as well stay in the Royal Suite.
After a complete makeover, the 2 refurbed Royal Suites are almost ready to go.
The bathroom is totally amazing.
Guests will pay top dollar for these rooms. Getting them right is vital if the hotel is to be competitive.
Oh, check out the woodwork though. This is just absolutely beautiful. I love the lighting all the way around the room. This is a really nice space up here.
We really gave the yacht feeling to the rooms, and there were a few things that was not right.
The joinery will go back for repainting because the type of paint is not
They didn't really coat it. Yeah, it scratches very easily.
Okay, let's head into the bedroom.
Chris is so unhappy, he's sending some furniture back to the manufacturer for alterations.
The bed, though, very Art Deco. Absolutely love it.
But there's a problem with the suite centerpiece, a custom-made bar.
And this is where, I guess, back in the day, you'd have all your alcohol.
This one here, we need to make sure that, see, it's hitting the step. It's got a kind of an old-fashioned design to it.
Oh, look. I bet if you take these are chargeable.
And beautifully integrated high-tech upgrades.
I've got a Tassimo.
Maybe coffee machine aligned straight, but...
The lights do come on.
But even in the royal suite, some things are shown a little dysfunctional.
Now, the first thing I notice about the ship is the air conditioning. There's a bit of a damp kind of smell in the air everywhere. I know the windows look a little bit rough around the edges, but it kind of makes you realise that you're on a ship. We never normally have much luck with these. It's not working. This balcony, it looks a little bit battered.
The hot desert sun hasn't been so good on some of her upper superstructure on her deck. There appears to be a lot of random construction and a wild amount of emptiness, all without explanation. Almost abandoned, in a sense.
I can't work this ship out. It's kind of derelict, but part of it has been refurbished. Some of it looks open, some of it looks closed.
Because she's so big and because there are zones that are secluded from the others, we've been able to open sections of her and keep other sections closed off.
I have hopes that Tim came to visit at a time when a lot of the redevelopment plans stated perhaps 2 years later than envisioned in the 2022 article I read from Sea Trade Cruise News, and that sooner than later we will have a truly thriving ship deserving of her grand and illustrious legacy. Because the current owners have shown great care in maintaining the ship's rich history and heritage. They've restored some very unique parts of the ship I wouldn't have otherwise expected in a million years, though the buffet options in the original buffet were apparently sparse and unappealing, according to Tim's review.
It's pretty basic food, though. So just looking at some of the food, doesn't overly look that great. This is £33, so as much as you want. I mean, look at that fish. Don't think I want to go near that. So yeah, for £33, some potato croquettes, some poppadoms, chicken popcorn. Well, breakfast seems a little bit sparse. It's well spread out. There is a fried egg section over there, but I've just gone for some French toast, a cappuccino and a pain de chocolat. There's nothing else really took my fancy.
It was a bit disappointing and disheartening in subject matters like these. By the looks of all the remanagement structuring, it really is hard to say if the original restoration plans, as stated in the 3-part 2017 BBC docu-series, lined up in the description below, will flourish as intended, or if mismanagement will inevitably plague the ship the way it has the Queen Mary over the years. But like the Queen Mary in Long Beach, which is closer to my neck of the woods, giving me an upper hand in seeing how things are going on a more consistent basis, when it comes to major holidays and events, both ships are often flooded, or what's a better way to put that, floored with life and quality food and yesteryear fun, cheer and chalice. While the current condition of the ship admittedly puts me a little on edge, all according to what I saw from Tim's one video in particular, which I have also linked in the description below, it is still a gift to see that this treasure of a ship remains with us. We can only pray for the best and have a happy Christmas while we're at it. Subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and comment for future content. Thank you so very much, and again, Happy Merry Christmas.